Hello, everybody. Uh, me, Graceless host, Purple Midnight A, and the movie begins with.
You know I've pressed the button and it's caught the end of that. Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, one and all. We are back with another review. Our first review, which is the second in 1 week. We are here with a big old fucking episode. I don't think it's going to be longer than the rest, but if it is, we'll wait and see. Because I have no idea. I am your host, who can't think of any more quips to add on the end. Purple Midnight 8, joined by my fiance, my movie watcher companion, Amelia, of course. Say hello, Amelia.
Hello.
We are here today with Army of the Dead, a Netflix original. This is our second Netflix film because we did that fucking classic horror story not too long, a few months ago, actually.
Oh, we did another one. We did Fall, didn't we?
That wasn't a Netflix original, though. Army of the Dead. We're going to jump straight into it because, as I say, this could be a long episode. Silver isn't with us today. He's still alive. He's still mostly well. He's just under the bed, grumbling to himself like a typical old man. So, we'll get right into it in case this is end up being at least an hour long. What?
You watched the film, though.
He watched some of it until we had to go for our dinner, and then he just skulked off under the bed again. So, as I say, this was released to Netflix in 2021. As apparent, this was filmed, at least some of the reshoots, which we'll get into as well, was done during COVID. As we'll get into. Directed by Zack Snyder, the Justice League man. Also did Dawn of the Dead remake from like 2004. He's done a lot. He's a big name. Co-written by him, Shay Hatton, and Joby Harold. That is a name, not a spelling error. So of course, the T-shirt line comes in as always. Movie begins with spoilers ahead. By the way, it's on Netflix. Then again, a lot of people do not have Netflix because it's gone down the toilet. So anyway. Movie begins with a military convoy leaving Area 50. Page 1 of 3. 3 whole pages for a change. Instead you go at page 3, there's 3 pages, and it's like a line on page 3. It begins with a military convoy leaving Area 51, as I read up. There's a lot to do with aliens and robots. It's very ambiguous, but there are zombies that have metal skeletons and blue eyes. And there are some lights in this scene that fly off, hinting that it's, UFOs and shit. The military convoy leaves while a horny newlywed couple drive down the same road. As you went, this ain't gonna go well, is it? And I was going, nah, it's never good. While getting roadhead, I don't need to explain what that is. The groom crashes into a truck, killing the two of them. Like in just a fireball, they just implode. Well, explode. And it launches this little shipping container full of goodies down the road. The soldiers investigate the container as it pops out. How does it open? It just sort of goes, and it's just like the door just falls open, which is terrible.
Sorry, as soon as you said door, I've got the other door.
Are you on about the fucking door you sorted out? Oh, your autism is strange. So, as the container door opens, it reveals a short-haired version of our main antagonist. It's the same zombie, by the way. I don't know if you gathered that.
Sorry?
I don't know if you gathered that Zeus is the same zombie from the intro.
Yeah.
Okay, at least there's that. I gathered that. Opens to reveal our main antagonist, Zeus, who is played by Richard Cetrone. I do not know. I do not care. Who attacks and slaughters all but 2 of the soldiers who manage to escape. Well, not escape, they do a runner. Zeus, however, follows and kills them both. He just rips the jaw off one of them, and that's enough to turn him, weirdly. But just bites the other one, and turns them into our first 2 alpha zombies. I will say, this is the last we see of them, so no special little kill for them. I think I've changed my worst kills.
Okay.
I'll save that for the end.
I'm sticking.
Yeah, we'll get to them at the end. That's our little special treat to round off the video after talking for sometimes an hour straight. They approach Las Vegas as the credits roll. And God, I fucking love the intro to this movie. It reminds me so much of Zombieland with this sort of kookiness and, well, not silliness, but
I used to like Zombieland, but I don't.
I don't like the second one very much. I do like the first one. So over the credits, we watch the downfall of Vegas, set to a cover of Viva Las Vegas by a man named Richard Cheese. I think this cover is genuinely in my Spotify list and has been in there since I first watched this film. I've watched this film 3 times now, by the way. This is Amelia's first time. She surprisingly enjoyed it.
I wouldn't watch this on my own.
No, you wouldn't have gone out your way to.
No, but I did enjoy it, which is the main thing.
Which is surprising. So many, and I do seriously mean many people die. I'm not going to count. Like, that's someone else's job. In a multitude of ways, from firebombings to zombies to other survivors. And they parachute soldiers in with basic fucking, like, gear straight into the horde. Like, they don't drop them on a roof, they don't drop them in a little safe area, they just drop these cunts right in there. Also, I said the C word, sue me. It's very stupid, and obviously it gets a lot of them killed. Ends with a girl and a woman being crushed by some containers as they are devoured. I put these down because I thought they were important, but they're not. But it's just 2 more people that die. You're welcome. Scott. We meet our protagonist, Scott, who is played by Dave Bautista. Obviously, the former professional wrestler Batista, or as many people probably would know, Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy and Marvel. That he's in a lot. Well, he's in a few of them, but not all of them. He's not one of the main Avengers.
I just know him.
Yeah. He works in a diner as a chef, as the news reports that the military is planning on dropping a nuke on the 4th of July. Because America. What's more American than blowing an entire place up on the 4th of July? He is approached by Bly Tanaka, who is played by, I do apologise, Hiroyuki Sanada. I think he was in Bullet Train. I believe. I feel bad, because I meant to look at what he was in, but I didn't. I think he's in Bullet Train. He's in The Last Samurai, John Wick, yeah, Bullet Train, Ring, as in like Ringu, Rush Hour. He's quite a prominent Asian actor. I believe he's Japanese. Yeah. So he's in quite a lot. He's a big rich man. He owns the casino that this movie will be mainly taking place in. And his bodyguard, who is Martin, he is played by Garrett Dillahunt. He is a big sort of character actor. I personally know him as John Dory from Fear the Walking Dead. He is in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, No Country for Old Men. There was another one, but I've just missed it. Last House on the Left. As I say, he's quite a big character actor, so there's quite a few. He has a recognisable face as well, so you'll know his face if you don't know anything he's in. Who offer him a position in a heist team to rob a vault in the centre of the outbreak zone. And Martin very kindly passes Scott the blueprints to the vault. Scott's daughter Kate, who is played by Ella Purnell, I don't know, works in a refugee camp when a friend Geeta approaches and points out someone else. I very selfishly did not put who Geeta was played by, I should say. Huma Qureshi. There you go. You're welcome. Don't say I didn't give you anything. She points out Lily, who's played by Nora Onizda. I apologise. I'm terrible with names. Who smuggles people into the zone, and, as we find out later, leaves them. Quite a lot, apparently. A guard whose name is Bert. His last name is Cummings, but I will call him Bert for the sake of an immature fiance laughing at his name every time I said it.
I didn't laugh at.
That's because we didn't call him Cummings. He is played by Theo Rossi. He's in a lot of B movies, but he is in Sons of Anarchy as, I forget his name. I feel terrible. Juice. Juice, that's the one. I haven't seen that show in a long time. He approaches them and bullies the two of them while also being a general piece of shit character. He is a horny boy, but he is also apparently a rapist, according to Lily later on, so that's fun. In a flashback, which is also a little nightmare, we watch as Scott is forced to put down his now zombified wife when she attempts to attack Kate. You were disgusted by this. You were so confused of why it's a brain they have to just stick a knife in. I basically had to explain how a zombie works. Like, it's like you'd never seen a zombie film before in your life.
Even though it's not my thing.
Yeah, but surely you'd know how they work. He awakens the next morning to call Mr. Tanaka and accepts his offer to rob the vault. It's not really a robbery, they recover it. His first team member is Maria. She is played by Ana de la Reguera. I think that was actually not a bad pronunciation for a change, so give me a little pat on the back for that at least. She is in. Thank you for actually patting me on the back. Nacho Libre, The Purge. Apparently, Army of Thieves. I don't think she's in it, but sure. We will cover that pretty soon because obviously we're doing this. I think I will probably. She was in Dawn. She was in the original, the remake of Dawn of the Dead as well. I do not remember her in that, but sure. Yeah, we will cover Army of Thieves. We will literally be watching this once we wrap up the recording. We will do that. I will probably, unfortunately, be doing Scary Movie 3 next because we need to wrap that series up so I don't have to worry about it anymore. She joins the team after they have a bit of an emotional reunion. It's not really cleared up what is their backstory, but according to Zack Snyder in the prequel series, we will be getting some more information on how they sort of met and their history. The second is Vanderho. I will call him Van from now on because it's just easy and everyone else calls him Van. He is known for quite a bit. Nothing I've heard of, unfortunately. Oh, he's in Kick-Ass and the original and the fucking remake of Dawn of the Dead as well. Apparently, we watched that not that long ago, and I do not remember. I think it's just bullshit. And apparently Justice League. Okay, sure. So yeah, Van is played by Omari Hardwick. I don't know if I said I was getting there. He and Maria were once part of a rescue team inside the outbreak zone with Scott. So they do have a bit of history, and they agree to split the money a bit more favourable for the three of them. Peters, which is our third member of the crew, played by Tig Notaro, who was not in the original film until she was recast, until Peters was recast further down the line. Peters was recast because Chris D'Elia had some allegations against him, so that's always fun. So unfortunately, the film had basically finished filming, so poor old Tig had to do a lot of reshoots on her own with body doubles and green screens, and it's very apparent sometimes. Signs on. So yeah, Peter signs on, and then they invite Mikey Guzman, played by Raul Castillo, who is an arrogant influencer. Oh, it just gets worse. Like, He's a fucking influencer. They're just obnoxious and loud. Is that it? Just agreed.
Yeah.
The last crewman is Dieter, played by Matthias Schweighöfer. I know how to pronounce certain German pronunciations. He is in Army of Thieves, so he is. I think he's the only returning cast member for that, and the director of it. Who gives everyone some backstory on the Vault and then joins up. This will be explained when we cover Army of Thieves. The crew meets at a secluded location where Guzman has brought on two others. Chambers, played by Samantha Wynn, and another member whose name I couldn't understand Guzman saying, and also couldn't find the actor or the character on Google. So I apologise. I apologise to him. I'm sure he's a good actor, but I couldn't find anything. Tanaka gives a breakdown of the plan. Guzman's unnamed crew member then decides to back out and leaves, which they surprisingly let him for such a big illegal activity. They're just like, all right, bye. And ironically, excuse me, I'll just bang the glass. Ironically, he's one of the few members of the heist crew to actually survive. So that's fun. Him, Kate, and technically someone else survives the rest of the film. But as our pre-credits scene tells us, not really. Martin announces that he is a member of the crew due to his affiliation with Tanaka, and because Tanaka owns the casino, obviously Martin has all the keys and shit to get them in. Kate is met by her father, who asks him to get them in. Geeta and two other people sneak into the zone with the help of Lily. I think they have names. Once again, their names are just screamed at one point in the film, and I do not hear it. I do not understand it. Kate introduces the team to Lily and wishes them well before leaving. However, when she finds Geeta's children, she realizes that she may have gone into the zone. So that makes her want to join up. Kate then punches Lily, just square in the face, which is fair enough for taking her inside the zone. When Lily says she's never saw her die, Kate insists on joining them, and Scott reluctantly allows her. Bert is also present, and Lily insists in bringing him in too, under the pretense of money, which he quickly accepts. Because Lily goes, "Do you want to make 20 grand?" He goes, "Fuck yeah, I want to make 20 grand. Job done."
Yeah, no question asked.
No question asked. They don't know. He doesn't know what he's going in for. He just wants the 20 grand. Which is a big mistake for him. The larger than initially anticipated team heads in, guided by Lily. And after leaving their little tunnel, they are met by piles of melted zombies. Not from the firebombs, but from the heat. They literally melted together, and apparently when it rains, which we never see, they all wake up. Which is disgusting.
Well, I don't know why I did that. As I say, I didn't say anything. Yeah, that was weird.
Okay, thanks for your input. The mic didn't even pick half of up anyway, because you were just going, thanks.
My contribution.
Your contribution of being present was more than Morgan, at least, so... Martin tries to get some intel from Lily, but doesn't give her a reason why he wants to know. Suspicious outsider is suspicious. I do hope he doesn't become a bad guy later on in the film. They're suddenly met by Valentine, a fucking zombie tiger, who does look really good despite being CGI, who doesn't notice them before leaving. Lily borrows Bert's gun before shooting him in the leg with it. Lily then tells them about the alpha zombies and how Vegas is their kingdom. And because, because they've just mentioned her, she's going to show up. We get to meet the Alpha Queen. Excuse me. Who is played by Athena Parampal. Arrives, followed by several Alphas who proceed to drag Bert away. Which, as a trade-off, allows the group safe passage into the ruins while Zeus watches from afar. Big boy
She's
Zeus.
also pregnant as well.
We'll get there. It's in the notes. Don't just fucking shit out a random plot point for no reason. Bert is dragged through the Alpha stronghold where he is tormented by the resident Alphas. Before long, Zeus just struts in and lets his presence be known by his subjects and also his queen, but also a very pissed pants Bert, who honestly, as I said to you, I would have shat my pants 9 times over by now. He rests his head against her stomach, revealing that somehow she is pregnant. Which begs the question, was she pregnant before she became a zombie? Did those zombies fuck? Or is there some other way a zombie baby is made? I don't want to know. Please don't put that in the sequel, Zack Snyder. I don't want to know how zombie babies are made. Well, when one zombie and another zombie love each other very much, they have these naked cuddle. No, we're not getting that. I'm so sorry. Anyway, Bert literally like pleads for his life before Zeus bites him and Alphas carry him away. The team is elsewhere, passing through a building full of hibernating shamblers, as they call them. These are not Alphas; these are your regular, like, Walking Dead zombies. Scott drops glow sticks in order to mark a path for the other team members, with Martin and Chambers supporting the rear, with a very suspicious Chambers who doesn't trust him. I wonder why. I wonder how. I wonder why. Anyway. No, because my singing is terrible. Martin throws a glow stick down a separate path in order to separate Chambers from the others. This plan works, but Chambers accidentally wakes some of the shamblers until one falls on some shelves of trays, which promptly falls. Because it's fine, because she stabs a couple of them, and it's quiet, doesn't wake the rest up, but one of them, their arm just rests on a tray full of cutlery and shit. And it's like, oh, I do hope it doesn't fall.
Convenient.
Conveniently, yeah. But of course, it falls, awakening the Horde. Chambers and the others are forced to shoot their way out, because obviously, why would you use knives when you're that close? I mean, you should, because you will be fucking deafened, because all the fucking, you're in close proximity. Martin attempts to block the doors in order to trap both the zombies and Chambers inside. When I say attempts, I mean he does. Chambers crashes out of a window near the team, however she is quickly surrounded, leaving Guzman no choice but to shoot the gas tank on her back, blowing her and many fucking shamblers to high hell. Emerging outside, the team spot the casino and make their way to it. Scott and the team discover that Tanaka had sent multiple teams into the casino prior to theirs. We will have a bit more on that a bit later on. The team splits up into different groups, while Martin and Lily head out as Valentine stalks the area around the building. Van, Guzman, and Dieter arrive at the vault, and Dieter celebrates getting his first zombie kill. He nearly dies. He screams a lot in this film, like a little bitch. It is a lot of very high-pitched screaming. And you said what you said that would probably be you. Dieter looks over some corpses, and Van points out the visual similarities between them, as in between their team and the dead people, and makes a conspiracy about them being from a different timeline or a time loop. This is never confirmed to be or not to be the case, so I have to wait till the sequel for anything. Back on the surface, Lily and Martin are met by the Queen and one of her alphas. Dieter's team grabs several zombies in order to trigger the traps that protect the vault. Zeus makes his way to a room that contains Geeta and the other two, where he presumably turns one of them into an alpha, but we don't see it, he just drags her off screen. Martin launches a net at the Queen and they gun down her alpha escort, which unfortunately for them alerts Zeus. Lily and Martin approach the Queen, with Martin decapitating her with like cheese wire. Like, I mean, a knife would have been a bit more, like, not as horrific. But a cheese wire just gone. That's a suitable noise. But they don't put her down, which is important. He and Lily make plans to use her head in order to sell it as a weapon. Because, of course, when there's a disease, the government's got to try and... No, I'm not. I'm not going into conspiracy theory territory. Anyway, evil government. On the news, we find out the nuke is being dropped a day ahead of schedule. And to quote the newsreader, because the president thought it would be cool. Leaving them with an hour and a half to escape. The team regroup in the vault where Dieter is struggling to open the vault, and if he fails one more time, it'll lock permanently. Zeus rides to where his queen was killed on a badass zombie's horse. As I said to you, that horse is practical, and I love it. Because they could have CGI'd a horse, but they put a fucking zombie costume on a horse, and it was fucking brilliant. He listens once more and cries out in anguish when he realises the zombie has died. Which is fucked. Kate props a hatch open in order to provide them a backup exit, and the group looks through a bag full of cash while Scott and Maria have a little bit of flirty-worty. Dieter, in the meantime, succeeds in opening the vault, much to his astonishment and glee. Lily secretly swipes the Alpha Queen's head from Martin while they are distracted by the vault opening, revealing an eye-watering amount of cash, to which the group celebrates. Zeus takes the bride's corpse to the Alpha stronghold and reveals the now dead zombie. He literally cuts her open and just holds this blue fetus. That was fucked. That was there's a zombie baby in Dawn of the Dead 2004, but it's not like a fetus. That was fucked. Back in the vault, the group has packed the bags and are ready to leave. Maria admits that she came in order to repair her and Scott's relationship. When Scott suddenly realises Kate has gone, as the horde of Alphas emerge from their stronghold alongside Valentine. Kate slips past them into there in order to find Gita. This character that's very important and totally just doesn't disappear at the end of the film. Scott calls the elevator, and when it opens, an Alpha appears and twists Maria's head all the way around. Someone is blasting music outside from their car, like a true lovely person. Killing her instantly, of course. Scott violently kills the Alphas that emerge from the elevator as more begin descending. He just grabs a knife and just starts stabby, 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 stab, stab. That then Scott violently kills the Alphas, read that, as more begin descending, separating Van and Dieter from the others. Martin gets away through the hatch and shuts the others in the basement, because as I say, he is evil bad guy. Zeus arrives and Van fights him in melee but is overpowered. Dieter, however, saves him by shutting him inside the vault. We do not see Dieter die. Dieter is just sort of pulled away, which is important because it could show up in the sequel. And Zack Snyder never confirmed that he's dead or anything happened to him, so we'll have to stay tuned for that one. So yeah, that leaves both of their fates unknown. Wink. The gang ultimately breaks through a wall to get out, and Martin, now on his own, has the very bad luck of running into Valentine, the tiger he has announced that he is shit scared of for most of the film. Who violently throws him around, ripping at him and clawing at his face, until he's on the floor. She bites down on his skull and rips it in half, and all his fucking brain matter and goopy shit just all over the floor like a burst tomato. That was fucked, but he deserved it. That was very fucked. Scott, Guzman, and Lily make a run for it through the casino floor until Guzman, unfortunately, because he is the biggest bit of cannon fodder out the lot, is pinned by some Alphas. He ends up sacrificing himself by blowing himself up with grenades. Taking an elevator back out from the vault, Zeus watches through this glass as an Alpha just slams into it as he burns to death. Obviously, because Guzman blew everything up, but apparently he has incendiary grenades. Like napalm. Kate, who is somehow still alive, is walking around when she's spotted by a now zombified Bert. Because this piece of shit can't stay dead forever. On the roof, I've accidentally pressed page down, which is pretty common for this fucking show. Oh, fucking hell, I've completely lost it. On the roof, Lily and Scott make it to the chopper, but end up in a standoff with Zeus due to Lily still having the Queen's head. Oh dear. But it's bargaining. Scott climbs on board as Lily beckons them to leave, but while watching the chopper, Lily is impaled by Zeus using a spear. But she does, however, drop the head off the roof, just splatting it against the pavement. It's fucked. There's a lot of just random, like, head gore. They're finally killing the Queen as Scott and Peters escape, and she is bitten off screen, but we never see her die. However, a nuke does land moments after, and just, yeah, safe to say she's dead. Yeah. Peters and Scott agree to go down and search for Kate with only 9 minutes left. A very long 9 minutes, may I add. Till the nuke strikes. Kate succeeds in finding Geeta and her friend. Scott and Peters arrive and he goes to search for her. Unfortunately, because Bert is still around, Geeta's friend is killed by him. Because he just pulls her back and rips her throat out. Yummy, yummy, nom, 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 nom. Piece of shit. Kate shoots him a few times and then ultimately just blows his brains out. And kills him, obviously. Just as Zeus arrives. A blocked door stops them from escaping, however, but Scott opens it from the other side just in time before Zeus can attack. Scott launches a grenade that just sends him flying. They arrive on the roof to find Peters missing until they hear the chopper coming back. But of course, as they board the chopper, Kate realizes that Zeus is on the roof. They try and fly away as Zeus successfully jumps on board. Zeus and Scott fight on board, and why did I put on board twice? Just get well, there's no point. Zeus and Scott fight until Scott wounds Peters with a gunshot, almost causing them to crash. Peters watches the nuke fly over and make impact just as Scott is bitten. But he does manage to shoot Zeus in the head, and it just explodes, just splat, deaded. The helicopter unfortunately crashes due to the shockwave, killing everyone, killing everyone but Kate and Scott, the most pivotal characters. We see Peters' corpse. Geeta is just missing. Nobody even addresses her death. It makes me think that maybe she wasn't available for the filming of the last few scenes, so they were just like, she's dead. Done. Who knows, she may show up in the sequel. I doubt it, but we'll see. Kate recovers on the ground and finds Peter's impaled corpse in the cockpit, but finds Scott alive, if not well. Scott reveals to her that he was bit and the two share some last moments together as he slowly succumbs to his injury. He does unfortunately and quite sadly die and reanimate, forcing Kate to shoot him in the head. He growls her name though. Did you notice that?
No, I didn't.
He does growl Kate, or at least tries to. A helicopter arrives at the scene as Kate breaks down crying. One very final scene, which you were going, oh, is he alive? He's got to be alive then, isn't he? One final scene shows Van emerging from the ruins of Vegas and leaving the area with a fuck ton of the money that somehow made it out. Ending up at an airport, he hires a private jet. Nobody goes, do you need to see a doctor? You look like you've had the shit kicked out of you. On board, he slowly grows weaker until he goes to a bathroom and spots a bite on his arm, leaving a cliffhanger, probably setting up the next film. Not Army of Thieves, but Planet. Planet of the Dead is the next one. And the movie ends with, of course, another Elvis song because it's Vegas. but not Viva Las Vegas. Caught in a Trap. And there we are. 2 hours of movie. Later, surprisingly enjoyed by someone I didn't think was going to enjoy it. Because he was like, just watch whatever you want.
Well, it was your go, and as I say, I did like it.
Yeah, now you're obsessed, and now you want to watch the sequel.
Well, I'm hoping
That came out the same year.
I'm hoping it's gonna be good.
It's not going to be zombie, so there's that. Anyway, we'll get into that in probably a couple of weeks' time, so stay tuned for that. Because this is a movie where people died, we've got to hand out our little awards that we should probably name instead of best kill, worst kill. Best kill. Amelia, would you like to go first?
No, keep weeks off.
Amelia's favourite kill was surprisingly Maria, who had her head just completely twisted around. My favourite kill, obviously, had to go to Martin. Like, that motherfucker got just absolutely butchered by a fucking tiger. How could you not put that as your favourite? Worst kill for Amelia is nothing, apparently.
Oh, I did tell you.
Oh, she doesn't want to say it, which is like half of the show because she hasn't said anything for most of the episode. Scott is her worst kill. However, I was going to agree, but I would have to go to the soldiers from the intro that just got punched to death a few times. Like, by Zeus. It's going to happen. You're going to get a few kills that are pretty mediocre in a film like this, full of death. You're going to have a bunch of off-screens. You're going to have a bunch of gunshot kills. Oh, now, what would she rate it?
Probably give it a 7.
7? I think I would have to agree. Because there is a lot in this film which is like, I'll make sure you come back for the sequel. Like, oh, aliens, robots, sequel. Characters being ambiguously left alive, sequel. That's good. I think a lot of my criticisms has to come with the fact that they had to recast someone. And it was an important character they couldn't really get rid of because they still needed the helicopter pilot. And by then they had probably written Martin to die, so we couldn't have our little our backup pilot be spared. So yeah, that was Army of the Dead. Of course, the Netflix film. There's probably not another one. Don't know why I specified. I, of course, have been your host, Papa Midnight 8. You can find all the links in the description to all that good stuff, including Amelia's channel. That's in that same link, because I felt generous, so you're technically in every video's description. You can find her link to the Obsidian Nook, but she doesn't have another channel, which I better let you say so that you can actually have input.
Petal ASMR.
Yeah. So yeah, we will see you next week for Amelia's turn. I don't know what she's going to pick. We've had a couple of ideas, but you'll have to wait and see. So yeah, thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.